Hello everyone, and welcome to my review for Record of Ragnarok Chapter 49. Before I get into this review, I have to mention, well, first off, sorry about any extra background noise. It started raining and thundering literally as soon as I was about to record. I just have the greatest luck imaginable, so sorry about that if it's a little noticeable at times. But other than that, the usual plugs. My subscriber goal for 2021 is hitting 5,000 by the end of the year. So if you're already a fan of the channel and you're not subscribed, you might as well to reach that goal. The other thing is my Patreon. If you want to help support me and the channel directly while also getting access to some extra content, you can also become a patron. I've linked that down in the description. With that out of the way, let's get on with the review. The second chapter we got this month is much shorter than the first, but in my opinion, is a lot more interesting because we get some pretty interesting reveals this chapter. That's right, it's a reveal chapter, which tend to be some of my favorites depending on how the reveals are done. But at the end of the last chapter, Buddha seemingly knocked out Zarafuku after the two of them came to an understanding between each other. It seemed like Zarafuku has been redeemed. He's returned back to his original happy-go-lucky self, and is happy now. He's very happy. Buddha's got his arms out. He seems very pleased with his work, very pleased with the situation. We get all the happy reactions from the humans and Valkyries in the audience. Good to see Kojiro. When was the last time? Did we see Kojiro in the last chapter? I feel like we may have. I don't know. I'm just very happy that we see Kojiro so much now. It's great. So Zarafuku is talking about how he's going to try and do what he did before, making people happy and love himself, but something seems a little off. The horns that he had, I don't know if they were attached to his head. I think they may have been like floating next to his head or something. The blunt ends of them have started to unfurl into these little spirals like a drill, and then they drill into his fucking skull, which seems to be very painful, and then he gets up onto his feet without using his hands in like a fucking exorcist way. Very creepy. His eyes and mouth are all blacked out again, and the horns get super huge and then turn into these tendrils, with one of them going into his mouth in a very weird fashion, and the other one going into that weird hole that's been in his chest this whole time. I think that was from when he split himself into the seven lucky gods. So these two things go into his body. He gets surrounded by this gross aura, and while he says that he doesn't want to do something, this voice overpowers his in this very spooky font that says, "I yearn for." And then we see this light coming out of his mouth and out of this hole in his chest, and two big fucking Asian dragons come out of his body. Inside you, there are two dragons. You know, like the inside you, there are two wolves thing? It's like that, but there are two dragons that will invade the biggest orifices on your body they can find for some reason. So those go out of him, and then come back down to Zarafuku, and Buddha tries to save him, and Zarafuku asks Buddha to help him, but he can't get to him in time. He's pushed away by the dragons, and actually has to hold on to the ground to stop himself from getting blown away. And the dragons furl up, and they create this orb, this scaled orb that looks like an egg, and then a pair of hands break out of it. We see this very, this viscous, veiny film underneath the scales, like an egg. It's gross. I like it. So, seems like we've gotten to that beat from Adam vs. Zeus, which is the seemingly defeated god fighter undergoing a gross transformation. Because as these fucking huge hands break out of the egg, everyone is surprised. Actually, Odin doesn't look that surprised. But Zeus looks surprised, Hermes looks surprised, Loki, Gaul, Brunhild, Kojiro, Akita, and Kondo. Actually, in fact, everybody but Odin looks surprised. And this is strange, because we've seen Odin surprised by things before. He was surprised by Adam grabbing onto Zeus. Maybe that was like the one most unbelievable thing Odin has ever seen before, but apparently this is not shocking to him, which is interesting. So Another thing, like, I really need to harp on, because it's important, is Buddha is fucking shocked right now. He seems very surprised by this. We see the 8th consciousness eyes have activated, and Buddha leaps back. He leaps back away from this thing coming out of the egg. And it's questioned if he did it out of reflex or because he saw what was coming, and this is not why. And we get these fucking creepy shots of this giant thing, this giant horned creature emerging from the egg, with his face like all blacked out, his eyes and mouth, very creepy. The artist does a fantastic job with this. Breaks out of the egg, it's covered in blood, and he's looking down on Buddha. And Buddha asks, "Who the hell are you?" And the first time we ever see, I think, Buddha sweats. There's a little bead of sweat going down Buddha's face there. That's a first. So the reason why Buddha leapt back was because he looked at this thing and he couldn't see anything. That's bad. That's really fucking bad. The reason Buddha has been untouchable so far has been the fact that he can see everything that you can do. So, no matter what you do, as long as he can find a way to get out of the way of it, he's fine. Now, I was actually discussing this with Griever and the other people in the chat on his stream for Chapter 48 earlier today. People were talking about, how do you beat Buddha? How do you beat the 8th consciousness? And it's very simple. You have to do something that he can't get out of the way of. That's why he had to use his staff when Zerafuku made the Misery Cleaver super huge, was because there was no way to dodge that. You had to do something else to avoid the strike. So Buddha would lose to Zeus, because even if he saw the aftermath of the fist that surpassed time, he would have no way to dodge it. So the fact that Buddha cannot see anything from this thing, that's really fucking bad. That means Buddha's gonna have to fight Sirius for real and not rely on enlightenment. Whatever 2 more weapons you can get out of the staff, you better hope that those are the most broken weapons in the universe, or that Buddha maybe has something else up his sleeve. Needless to say, serious Buddha incoming. We're gonna have to see what he looks like when he's serious. But anyway, we go down the hallway to this door with a fly on it. Yeah, it's time. In this library and laboratory with a bunch of bizarre creatures and jars, a bunch of tools, this fucking, is this a dog or a rabbit with this thing on its face, and this appears to be some kind of skeleton? So this very edgy looking fellow is like, oh, that's what became of that. Intriguing. This is Beelzebub. I've been wondering for a while, many people have been wondering for a very long time, what the fuck is gonna be the deal with Beelzebub? Because Record of Ragnarok goes for some very interesting and unique interpretations of the mythological figures in the series. And Beelzebub was the one that had perhaps the most opportunities, because there's a bunch of different versions of Beelzebub. You have the pagan deity, you have the Lord of Gluttony, you have Satan himself, and based on his priestly attire, he's wearing like a priest's outfit. The only difference is he doesn't have a white collar, which is probably intentional. I think this is literally the devil. It's Satan. This Beelzebub is the Lord of Hell, the first angel who, fell from grace. This is the devil. And, I really dig his design. He looks like a fucking Tokyo Ghoul character. He looks a lot like Kaneki for some reason. I feel like they literally went and they had Ishida draw a character for the manga. He looks more like a Tokyo Ghoul character than a Record of Ragnarok character, which I don't mind, because, Tokyo Ghoul looks amazing. So, yeah, I'm digging this design, and I am absolutely fascinated with what they're going to be doing with Beelzebub here. Now, what I'm most intrigued by, other than the outfit, is what Beelzebub has here in his room. Other than his spine-destroying gamer chair, he's got all of these books all of these seeming biological experiments, stuff studying nature, a bunch of craftsman tools. It seems like, in a twist that I never saw coming, literally, I'm not being cheeky this time, I never would have expected them going this route with Beelzebub, this dude is the evil scientist on the god side, which is fascinating. So he seems to be fully aware of what this thing is. It was apparently, based on what he said, it was something that was lost or sealed away. I'm assuming Beelzebub is the guy that has all knowledge of all of the evil, malevolent things in the universe. And presumably, for the most part, what has become of them, which is why he's like, oh, I see, that's what happened to that. His design, his seeming personality opens up a lot of avenues for what they could do with Beelzebub. So, for me, the best contender for fighting Beelzebub was going to be Kentoki, because Kentoki was this revered folk hero and a demon hunter. So you have the folk hero demon hunter fighting the reviled demon lord of hell. Fairly decent matchup. However, now we have a few more opportunities I could see. Since he's wearing like this corrupted priest outfit, I could see him fighting Rasputin, and you could have a battle of the false idols. You could have him fight Nikola Tesla, have something like alchemy versus technology. There are a bunch more opportunities they could go for now with Beelzebub, and I'm very excited for them. I am so excited. This, for me, is probably the highlight of this chapter. I mean, it's a god fighter reveal. It's a fighter reveal in general, so usually that is the craziest shit that ever happens in a chapter. That's as crazy as a chapter can get, is revealing a new fighter. I guess this other guy that Zerafuku's turned into is also a new fighter. But anyway, yeah, I have big hopes for this guy. There is so much potential with Beelzebub. I'm so excited. Yeah. So apparently this dude is the legendary berserker of the Netherworld, the demon lord of the sixth heaven, Hajin. That was perfect timing for the thunder there. I have heard a few things about this dude in the last few days since the spoilers came out. The guy has an alternate name of Mara. He is the devil in Buddhism. He's pretty much Satan. He's the big evil bad demon guy in Buddhism. He was seemingly the entity that tried most to stray Buddha from the path of enlightenment before he became the Buddha. I assume they may be doing something different here because Buddha has no idea who this guy is. Maybe it's because he looks different. I don't know. But they've pulled out Buddha's mythological arch nemesis to fight him. I'll take it. Listen, I've generally said that I'm not a big fan of when they have two characters from the same mythology or culture fight each other, because a big draw for Record of Ragnarok for me personally is seeing characters from completely different cultures and mythologies interact with each other. But the setup for this was so good, and the setup for this is so good that I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'm hyped as fuck to see this. So Hajin says divine retribution cometh. So I guess this guy is still serving heaven. I assume the sixth heaven, they mean like the sixth heavenly realm. I need to check again, but I'm pretty sure is it the demon realm or the Asura realm? Is one of the realms you had to go through to reach enlightenment. So this guy is seemingly... Listen, this guy may be top tier. I'm just gonna say it now. Beelzebub? I don't know. It's seeming like he's really literally Satan. I feel like there's a good possibility that Beelzebub is top tier, but you would have thought the same thing with Shiva. So who knows? This guy... Like, maybe it's a Buddha exclusive thing that Buddha can't see into his future, but I'm worried about this guy. I mean, his fucking clavicle is a literal collar. That's disgusting. Why does that happen? But now he's got the chiseled jawline. He's all fucking muscular and tall. Now they're both Chads. It's not Chad Buddha versus Virgin Zerafuku anymore. Now it's Chad Buddha versus Chad Hajin. So, this is the part of Adam versus Zeus where Adamas happens. And, well, needless to say, the fight gets a lot more not one-sided from there. So, expect things to go pretty rough next chapter. Oh boy. This fight was kind of okay so far, but with Hajin stepping out, oh god. We'll have to see what happens. Because for me, the first part of Adam versus Zeus is okay. Like, it's nothing crazy. But when it's True God's Right versus Eyes of the Lord, that whole, the third act of Adam versus Zeus is what makes it an S-tier fight for me. So if they pull that kind of shit here, ooh, I don't know, man. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But yeah, with that, that is all I have to say for Chapter 49 of Record of Ragnarok. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. I do Record of Ragnarok chapter reviews every month. If you enjoy other series such as Jujutsu Kaisen, Kengan Omega, and Chainsaw Man, I do videos in those series as well, so if you're interested in those, you should definitely check out my channel. If you enjoy discussing Record of Ragnarok with other people, or you just enjoy the content I produce on this channel, I highly suggest you check out my Discord server. I have linked to that down in the description. And since it's the end of the video, it's time to give a shout out to my wonderful patrons, Archbear CJ2K, Fuse, Neo, Dijon Redden, Anthony Chavez, Honey Mustard, Zach Rowitz, K-God, Chris Redfield, Scratch23, Moonshadow935, Rat, and Ryzen4K. Thank you all very much for supporting me on Patreon. I greatly appreciate it. And if you too want to get a shout out at the end of videos or access to some extra content, you can always become a patron as well. There's a link to my Patreon down in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys around. Take care.